What's up, my fellow wizards? My name's Scythe, and we are back again for some more Portal Knights. It's been a long time since we ended up playing this game, right? Well, there's a big patch that ended up coming out recently, everybody. There has been a couple other patches that we kind of have overlooked. I haven't really done a video on it. They ended up adding, there was a haunted biome. They also ended up making it so that ranged enemies actually will get in melee range of fighting characters, which was actually a very big deal because otherwise a fighter character was very unplayable in the game. Those are actually the old features, but as per today, they recently ended up adding a very big update, which it kind of is a pun in itself because of the amount of options that it ends up bringing. But first and foremost, the reason we're on the title screen is I want to show you that you can finally customize your controls, and you can customize your controls with a controller as well. And then there is also, when you end up creating a world, we're just going to stay on our same character right here. When you're creating a new world, which we've got one right here, you can actually choose between a small, medium, and large scale island, very similarly to how you can with Terraria, and it has the exact same effect where you can end up having a very huge world. So we're gonna actually load up our old world right here just so I can show you what a small world, which was the default size, ended up looking like if you haven't already watched my full Let's Play series of this game. Here's what the worlds used to look like, everybody. Once you end up climbing to the top, you can pretty much just see the end of the world very quickly. And this was pretty much the entirety of the game, as each of the biomes ended up being generated very small like this. Now, granted, I'm going to take into account that most of you that are watching this video probably already know this game's mechanics, so we're not really going to talk about those so much, just talk about the patch itself. And this is what a large generated world looks like, folks. Oh my goodness gracious, that is so beautiful. I mean, granted, we're at the edge of the screen right here, but still, that is insane, dude. You could end up probably going up to all of those random side islands as well. Not necessarily that there's gonna be anything on them, but you can see there's a structure over there. There's something else over there. Bigger worlds means that more structures are gonna generate, and also, the most important of all, more resources, because that was one of the things that I would say was kind of lacking in the full game is you would end up going into a small world and you'd have to mine enough resources from multiple different islands and worlds just so that you can end up getting enough to end up getting yourself some of the late game gear. Whereas now, if you end up generating large islands like this, there's no problem. You're not gonna have to worry about resources at all, which also means that there's gonna be a lot more exploration, a lot more dungeons, and a lot more events, because that's another thing that was added to the game, and this patch ended up adding quite a few of them. So the events, as far as I can tell, will be these random events that you will end up seeing out in the world, and they're kind of on a timer. I'm actually going to load up my other file because we've got only 2 islands on this save file right now, and hopefully we can run into an event on my main. It is important to note, though, folks, that the world generation is going to take a lot longer on the large worlds, and people that end up having potato computers probably won't be able to run it, so I wouldn't really recommend it. But the game itself actually says very nicely that if your computer isn't strong enough to run this, you know, load up a large world at your own risk. So let's actually open the map right here and see if we can find a random event. Hopefully, we've actually generated one, but it doesn't look like it, unfortunately. Maybe it's on one of the islands here that I don't actually have unlocked. But either way, what you would end up seeing is you would kind of be going through the map, and you would notice that there would be a special icon on one of these islands, right? And then you would actually click on it and look at it, and the event would be right here instructing you as to what you actually do. So I've done 2 events thus far. One of them ended up having me fight a bunch of Hollow Knights in a tower, and then once I ended up kind of killing them all and conquering them, I opened a chest, and it ended up giving me a very rare resource that I'd never seen before. And then recently I ended up doing, that could be why there's no event as well, as maybe they're only every now and then or something like that. But I ended up doing an event here that had me killing pretty much the last boss generated in this island. Granted, he wasn't using all of his attacks, but seriously, he was very strong and destroyed me like over and over again. And then when he died, he ended up giving me an astral heart, which is another resource that I don't know if we've gotten before. Maybe we have and maybe we haven't. I don't really remember though. So anyway, let's travel to the home world because I want to show you some of the new things that you can craft. Ah, home sweet home, with all the weird slime creatures standing on my path and trying to destroy me. That's a lot of mushrooms. What was I doing? Like, seriously, was I trying to make mushroom soup farm? So anyways, this was my house from a million years ago. I have a full Let's Play of this game if you haven't already seen it, folks. I'll put a card in the top right so you can click that if you want to check it out and see what the full game is actually about. But there is a whole bunch of new things, new to me, not necessarily new to this specific patch. However, this patch did end up adding a lot of new building blocks and stuff. But you can see right here, you can actually take electro quartz and build this blue little block that you can end up using just for style, just for your builds and stuff like that. There's also red carpet, which is something new as far as I'm concerned that I don't remember seeing. Maybe it's new, I don't know, but you would end up having to farm very specific resources to actually get it. So, you know, the world's your oyster, right? And then they also have these new weapons. So you can see this one right here, the Staff of Creation. I don't personally remember this being in game back when I started playing this because I'm pretty sure the Eternal Void was the last weapon that we ended up crafting. No, that's a two-handed one. So we're using this one, actually. So maybe this was here. I seem to remember the name Crystal Staff of Creation, but I personally don't remember actually seeing this because that is beautiful. Either way, it costs energy crystals. Now, from what I can tell, you can only get this resource from events. I could be dead wrong about that. Maybe you can just get it from random chests as well. But I ended up killing a bunch of that Hollow Knight Tower event that I talked about. The chest ended up giving me like one of these energy crystals. So needless to say, it would take a long time to actually farm for this stuff. And then, okay, yeah, this is all new. Yup, this is new armor. It actually requires the Evocator armor. And oh my goodness, this looks so beautiful. That would be an amazing mage set. I don't even remember the Evocator armor being a part of the game originally. But you can see the astral hearts, meaning that we would have to farm for these specific resources like crazy. My goodness gracious, that is insane. Like, seriously, I can't even believe that. So that means that there's probably, yeah, there's a whole bunch of new spells as well. There's also a bunch of new weapons and everything. Very, very cool that they've added so many things. And one of the things that's my personal favorite that I love the fact that they've actually added is if we go into the armor tab, there's actually a vanity tab. So you can end up crafting, they actually added a bunch of equipment specifically for looks, like a top hat, a halo that you can have on your head, a baseball bat, or no, maybe just a baseball cap. But either way, a whole bunch of fun, goofy stuff, while also still being able to equip any of the pieces of armor that you've crafted into the vanity slot. So if we actually unequipped our hat right here, and then we go to the vanity slot, we could end up putting this on, meaning that we won't end up getting any of the equipment bonuses from it, but we still just get to look cooler because the mage itself, I mean, look at this guy. He looks like a joke. He doesn't look as cool as you would think for an end game mage, you know? Which, granted, there is that new armor that was inside here that we could have ended up potentially crafting, which does look very, very cool and snazzy, but probably not as cool as some of the other armor that you could end up crafting on one of the other characters, like this guy right here, which would be like, yeah, he's all a rogue and he's really cool and, oh man. Either way, that's pretty much it as far as the game's concerned. Oh, there's also, I guess, one of the more important things that finally got added to the game is text chat and voice chat. Granted, you can play this game with your Steam friends. It doesn't really have like a full online with random people function. Maybe they'll end up having that eventually down the line. But either way, that is actually a huge deal because back when I was playing this game, you know, we had to use like outside programs and resources in order to actually communicate with one another, which is fine if you end up having like Skype or TeamSpeak or Razorcoms and stuff like that. But it's very, very nice that they actually have it in-game now, which, fun fact, there was actually a long time ago when I was just started playing this game. If you would actually join someone's world during the loading screen, their mic would actually be picked up by the game itself, and you could actually hear them for 2 seconds. So I'm guessing that they had voice chat planned for a very, very long time. But either way, very, very cool update. There's a whole bunch of other stuff. I'll list, I'll link to the patch notes actually in the description so you can check for yourself and see. They've got so many new things, new abilities, new ways to customize your character and stuff like that. And just is big, man. It's a big update. So either way, thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you found this video helpful. If you did, don't forget to Hadouken the like button, share, favorite, and subscribe to join Team Pixel Sanor, and stay epic, everybody.